Hello there. I have placed a sell order, Canadian dollar, Norwegian krone. Canadian dollar, Norwegian krone. Why have I placed a sell order? It's the 2nd of May. I'm looking to go short. It's just gone 2 o'clock here in the UK. The Bank of Canada are edging closer to cutting rates. If we bring up my spreadsheet here, and let's have a look at inflation first of all. So, inflation in Canada, it's a bit sticky, just under 3%, but it's nearing that 2% target. That by itself probably wouldn't be enough for me to look to sell the Canadian dollar. But we have high and climbing unemployment in Canada, currently at 6.1%. It's very high. GDP growth is below target, PMI is below 50, and balance of trade, not important, but that's negative. Things are not good for Canada from an economic point of view. This gives a bit of oomph to a potential rate cut. A potential rate cut would potentially stimulate the economy and maybe improve these economic figures. So I'm looking to sell the Canadian dollar. On the other hand, Norway. Inflation is still high, 3.9%. Potentially there could be another rate hike. And those economic figures do suggest that Norway could handle another rate hike. Unemployment's fine, PMI is fine, GDP growth slightly under. But overall, things are looking good. So from a fundamental point of view, selling the Canadian dollar, buying the Norwegian krone seems like a good trade to me. How about from a technical point of view? So let's have a look at this chart. This is the weekly. Price is clearly uptrending here on the weekly. Moving averages bullish. On the daily, things are looking a bit choppy, moving sideways. Could be like a consolidation pattern here. Some sort of triangle pattern like this, and prices at that consolidation resistance area. On the weekly, there's actually a bearish reversal pattern here. I think this uptrend could be coming to an end. I call this a triple top. So 1, 2, now potentially 3. So we could see price come down, and then we have like this triple top, 1, 2, 3. So I like that. I like this triple top pattern, and I'm keeping an eye on the triple top sort of sell area around here. On the daily, things are currently bullish, overall consolidating, but currently bullish. I don't really care about the daily because I have this weekly reversal pattern. On the 4 hour, there's potentially a head and shoulder pattern forming here. It looks more like a 1 hour head and shoulder pattern, but I'm taking this on the 4 hour. Shoulder, head, potentially a shoulder now, and at 2 o'clock, so this past hour, this 4 hour candle closed and closed this pin bar. I call this a perfect pin bar. So I want to go short just below the setup. If I was more aggressive, I'd go short now, but from experience, you can cut out a lot of losing trades by simply entering at the break of a setup rather when you see the setup. So sell order will be pending down here. Stop loss will be above like the head and shoulder pattern above the setup, and then looking to catch a downtrend on the 4 hour. If the economic figures start to change for Canada or Norway, then I'll consider closing the trade down because the fundamental foundation of the trade will be gone. And that's something I want to take, something I want you to take away in this video is if the trade is based on some sort of technical foundation or fundamental foundation, if that's removed, if it changes, then close the trade down. If the foundation's gone, the buildings are going to crumble. So take that away. Make a note of that. Okay, so I have a sell order pending. We'll wait and see what happens to this. If price breaks higher, I'll look for another reason to get into the trade on the 4-hour time frame. This weekly reversal pattern I can keep unless price breaks higher. Then I need to really start from the beginning and look for a technical reason on the daily or weekly to get into a trade. So here we go, Canadian dollar, Norwegian kroner. I'm not going to sell at market. I need to place a sell order. I can't actually do the full amount I want to do because of margin requirements. I'll be taking up pretty much all of my margin to get into this trade. So my loss won't be as great as it normally is. I'm risking about £50 rather than £100, but I just don't have the funds available in this account. If I put more money in, it kind of defeats the purpose of this series. I'm trying to trade with a small account. That is the trade. Any questions, let me know. I have my usual questions down here, which I have answered. Add to position, yeah, totally. I'll add to the position if we do get that downtrend on the 4-hour. I considered other crosses. Yes, I have, but none of them are signaling from a technical point of view. It's not really applicable, that question. Are you trading against the trade? A trend? Is a trend reversal pattern? Does it have obvious fundamental bias? Yes. Is the trade rush? No. Okay. This is trade number 3. Fingers crossed. Let's wait and see what happens with this one. I was triggered into Canadian dollar, Norwegian kroner. You can see price broke below this setup that I liked. It's now testing this 4-hour bullish channel support area. On my trading platform, you can see my entry just here. This 4-hour chart looks a little different. The setup is not there because this is not a New York close chart, whereas I use New York close charts on TradingView. But you can see the position, currently in profit. I actually ended up taking a much smaller stake because if this trade works out, it could be open for weeks. If I manage to catch a 4-hour downtrend, the trade could be open 3, 4, 5 weeks. With the margin requirements to risk £100 on this trade, I wouldn't be able to take any other trades for the next 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks, however long the position is open for. So I'm having to reduce my risk slightly now because I just can't meet the margin requirements in some of these pairs. So I ended up risking about £50 rather than £100, but it means I can keep taking other trades. Position's doing well. Now the reason why I'm sharing the position with you now is to show you my entry, but also we have major Norwegian krone news approaching 9 o'clock UK time. It's 8:56, nearing 8:57. This is an interest rate decision and some other news too. Rates are likely to stay the same. There could be quite a bit of movement. There could be an unexpected rate hike. Unlikely. That would definitely help my trade. But there could be a bit of movement here that could break the position. This could make or break the position, this news event. So we'll wait and see what happens at 9 o'clock UK time. And hopefully we see a downside move, but price could end up moving higher. If we look at the 1 hour here, it is looking quite choppy. It could be that we're at range support and the news brings price up to the range resistance, which nears my stop loss. So let's wait and see what happens in a few minutes. Okay, the news is approaching. 10 seconds. Let's go to a lower time frame and see what happens here. I need to keep an eye on my position on my CMC Markets account. And here we go. Let's see what happens here. So we've had a bit of downside, nothing too drastic. My position's now looking a bit better. It's well over 1-to-1 risk reward now. It's just a matter of hopefully catching a downtrend now. Perhaps a head and shoulder pattern here, something like that. And following the downtrend until I close for profit, I'm stopped out for profit, or the fundamental foundation of the trade is over. If suddenly the economy for Norway is not looking as good, if inflation starts really coming down, so rates are likely to start coming down, then I'll close the trade, and vice versa with Canada. There is some major Norwegian inflation data being released in a few minutes. Looking at the calendar here, this is the figure that I'm looking at, inflation YOY, which is year on year. 3.9% was the last figure, which is here, March, released in April for March. This is April's figure, being released in May. It's forecast at 3.7%. I'm happy with that. That's still well above Canada's 2.9, Euro area 2.4. If this inflation figure is lower, let's say it's nearing 3% or even 2%, I'm going to have to close these positions down. I've got Canadian dollar, Norwegian krona open. Looking for a move down, really, a swing low, so I can move my stop loss above this swing high. I also have a Euro Norwegian krona position open, which is in a small amount of profit here. This figure could break these positions. I need to be ready to close these positions down if this inflation figure is not good for my trades, i.e. it's very low. So hoping really for the forecast figure of 3.7% or higher. If 4% or 3.9% is released, that would be fantastic, because that could really strengthen the Norwegian krone and bring Canadian dollar knockdown, CADNOK down. So let's wait and see what happens here. Let's go to a smaller time frame. Hoping for a move down, but it's really this inflation figure that's going to determine whether I keep this position open or not. So 30 seconds to go. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so initial move down. Things could soon turn around though. Okay, so 3.6. Not as high as I was hoping. Okay, so not as good as I wanted it to be, but it's okay. This trade is over £200 now. Canadian dollar, Norwegian krona is coming down. I'm really hoping price swings lower so I can move my stop loss above here and lock in some profit. That's where I want to be with this trade. At the moment, stop loss is at break even up here. It could go from £200 all the way to zero, because I want to follow a trend. I'm not going to place my stop loss above this swing high yet, because price could retrace further before swinging lower. The fundamental analysis for this trade is not as good as it was, but I'm willing to keep it open. I think there's still a good trade here. I still think the Bank of Canada will likely cut rates before the Central Bank of Norway. Price has swung lower. Good news. Big move down, retrace move. Price has broken lower. So my stop loss is now above this swing high. And this is the position I want to be in. Price is either going to stop me out for profit or carry on down trending, and my profit's going to grow. This is where you want to be with every trade, is a guaranteed profit, is to be following a potential trend. So really happy with this. Let's have a look at the brokerage account. Here we go. So here's the trade. You can see the swing lower. There's the position here. So 220 at the moment. If I am stopped out for profit, we're looking about £100, probably just over £100. But if this carries on down trending, we could bank £400, £500, £600. You know, it's really quite limitless. It depends on how long the trend goes on for. But really happy with that. Hopefully I've caught a trend, a downtrend. Just let the position run. It could be open for potentially weeks, even months, if the downtrend continues. A big move down on Canadian dollar, Norwegian krone. Really happy with that. Nice clear swings, moving averages across. They're coming down, they're widening. Things are looking good. They're looking very bearish. There is a support zone down here, which I've marked based on the weekly time frame. It's also moving averages, so we could find support. It is a consolidation support area. So we could see a bounce here before a breakdown. The trade is bouncing around 1 to 6, 1 to 7 risk reward. Really happy with that. But obviously the downtrend could continue for a number of weeks, maybe even months yet. So I don't want to close the trade down. 1 to 6, 1 to 7 risk reward is very good though. Some people will teach you go for 1 to 2 risk reward, 1 to 3 risk reward. If you're trading a small account, you're never going to grow it banking 1 to 2 risk reward. It's just not going to happen. You know, look at this profits on these positions. This is what you want if you're trading a small account. This is how you're going to see growth. Aim for 1 to 6 at a minimum. 1 to 6 risk reward at a minimum. Now the reason why I'm doing this update is I do need to take a bit of profit. Okay, because my stop loss is above this swing high here, which is about 1 to 2 risk reward. And obviously it is possible that price could now come up and trigger that stop loss. So go from 1 to 6, 1 to 7 to 1 to 2. That would be a real shame. On the other hand, if I close the position now and price continue to downtrend, this could be a 1 to 20 risk reward trade. And if I didn't catch that, that would be a shame. So you're in this dilemma. What do? You're stuck between two choices. What's the best decision to make? Well, I think it's best to take a bit of profit off the table, so I can still catch that long-term downtrend. And if price does come up and stop me out, I've still made a fairly decent profit. I'm going to close part of the trade. So if we go to CMC markets, I want to make sure I don't close all the trade. It always makes me nervous clicking this cross that I'm going to close all the trade down. No. Okay. So let's close. It's £1.55. Let's close 55 pence. That gives me £120 profits. Let's reduce that position. Okay, so it's down to £200 now. So the majority of the trade is still open. I've closed about a third. 2/3 is still open. Hopefully I can catch that long-term downtrend. I'm going to do the same with Euro Japanese Yen. Now Euro Japanese Yen is only at 1-4, but the swap rate on this trade is horrendous. I've been short since up here. The swap rate is horrendous. It was a 3-day swap last night. It's a Thursday today. It was Wednesday yesterday, obviously. 3-day swap. It was £9 to keep this trade open at £1.40 per point. If price now reverses on Euro Yen and stops me out, I'm going to be taking more than my £50 risk, because I have these huge swap rates that I'm paying. So if I close part of this trade down, then I am recovering some of those swap fees, and I'm taking part profit and reducing the position for future swap fees. So it's not as bad now. Now Euro Yen isn't one I've been recording, and it's doing quite well, so let's just go through that. Euro Norwegian Krone I'm recording, and there'll be a video, probably the next one after this, about that trade. Time will tell, if that's going to be profitable or not, but nice head and shoulder pattern here. Prices coming down. Really happy with that. US dollar yen was my first video. Part of that position still open. Turkish lira euro is in a slight loss, but that's expected. There's a positive swap rate that I receive every day for holding this trade. But Euro Japanese yen, why did I go short? Let's go through this, because I am not recording this one. This one could be a mammoth win, and it's a shame if I haven't even mentioned it. So looking very bullish here on the daily. Nice clear bullish channel. Looking very bullish here on the weekly bullish channel. The fundamentals suggest that this thing could shift. It's the whole interest rate thing again. We have the ECB nearing cutting rates, so we could see the euro weaken. On the other hand, there is talk, and it's only talk at the moment, that the Bank of Japan could start hiking rates. So if the Bank of Japan hiking rates, ECB cutting rates, it creates this imbalance. Okay, so that could mean a downside move on Euro Japanese Yen. Things are very bullish though, so why would I go short? The technicals are not agreeing with the fundamentals. Well, there's a real key resistance area up here. Look at the reaction at this level. Back in 2008, this would have been global recession price action. Big move down, look at that. Wouldn't it be great to catch a move like that? Even with my bad swap rate that I'm paying. It's a big move down on Euro Japanese Yen. Prices back of that area. We know that markets have a memory that they can react the same. If we look at the move here and the move here, markets have a memory. They react the same at the same levels. I don't expect a move like this because I don't expect a global recession. But key areas, a point of interest, an area of interest up here, a resistance area. So on the 4-hour, price is at that monthly resistance area. Very overbought RSI here. On the 4-hour, we hit, what's the highest we hit? 80. Yeah, 80 was the highest we hit. And then there was a nice setup here. I call this a perfect pin bar. It's a very small setup, this one. But I call that a perfect pin bar. It's a bearish pin bar, so sell order below. stop loss above, and a really good entry. Though it is early days, you know, and even on the 4 hour, things are looking very bullish. It's like a inverted head and shoulder pattern. So this thing could be stopped out. A final update on Canadian dollar, Norwegian krona. Price is hitting a support area here on the daily and weekly time frames. It's a consolidation support. There's also a weekly moving average here. Seems like a good time to take a bit of profit. Again, we're bouncing around that 1 to 5, 1 to 6 risk reward ratio. So I'm going to take a bit of profit off the table. I'll then just leave this trade open and follow the trend on the 4 hour time frame until the trend is over. I'm finishing the video here because I want to upload it to YouTube, and it could be that this trade is open for a couple more weeks, even a couple more months yet. And to save just doing update after update, I'll take a bit of profit off the table and finish the video here. So here we go. Things are looking good. If I go to the trade, I need to remember how to do this now. Click on here. Okay. So let's close 50p down. Well, let me just make sure. What's the minimum position size you can do? It's 0.40. Yeah, so if I take 50p, then that will give me a chance to take part profit again in future if I need to. So £135. I've already taken some profit. I think about 120. So that gives me about 250 so far on this trade. So 1 to 5 banked already, and I'm going to continue following the trend. So happy with that. That's in the kitty. I've got a euro yen position open that's struggling a bit. I've got euro Norwegian krona, which is doing well. That will be covered in another video. Price is coming down nicely. I've still got my US dollar yen position open. This was the first trade that I took. Canadian dollar, Norwegian krona. Hopefully the downtrend continues. I really won't mind following a downtrend and closing to £300. That will give me 550 altogether. 1 to 11 risk reward in total. Not bad, is it? Okay, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you. I try and reply to all my comments. I'll speak to you in another video.